All right, welcome back. Focusing on the Steelers here moving forward, and they open up camp 3 days in. We had backs on backers today. A lot of hitting, not too many injuries, so far a pretty good start. But let me start with you on this one, Paul Zeise, and that would be this is the time where they still have open door policy when it comes to signing players, and there are some out there who are in line for money. Number one on the list is Joe Hayden. We saw that Drew Rosenhaus was there today. Would you give the kind of money necessary to keep him at age 30 as he moves forward?
I would say, given his body of work and given what they've done in terms of drafting corners, absolutely. I mean, I think he's a really good player for them. You got to remember, in the NFL, you can get out from underneath contracts quicker and easier than in other sports because they're not guaranteed. I think you give him a nice guarantee, you front load the contract, and you keep him around because he's by far your best corner.
I don't think it's like an open and shut case, Paul, because that's the one position on the field, specifically on defense, where when you lose a step, you can go from really good body of work to shouldn't be in the NFL pretty quickly. Unfortunately for them, they're so abysmal drafting and developing their own in-house guys, and he's been so steady. That's a confluence where if I'm Rosenhaus, I'm saying, look, this is what you are without my client. This is what my client has done. Pay him, and they should.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what's the Steelers' backup option here? Are they going to go with Artie Burns? Call Senquist Golson
What if
back,
Rosenhaus just brought
doing?
Burns' picture in there and said, well, you could go here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an easy decision for the reasons that Paul outlined, too. I mean, Joe Hayden's a good football player, and I think he's actually going to be a part of a somewhat improved secondary. I don't think there should be a question in the world about that. And if he goes, you know, takes that precipitous drop, so be it. You live with it. But with their history, as bad as they've been drafting corners, please do not think you're going to, like, build through the draft with cornerbacks. You have a good guy, just sign him.
Chris, let me ask you about Artie Burns. You got his $800,000 roster bonus. It was due today. But in my mind, that doesn't guarantee he's on this team yet. When you look at his situation, how does he make the team, or is it already made in your view?
I don't think it's already made just because he got the bonus, because that comparatively is pennies for an NFL team. And I know you don't like to throw money away, but I think that's almost like taking an $800,000 flyer and saying, what does this guy show us here? Does he show us that he wants to be here? Does he show us that he's hungrier for something? How does he make the team? He's in one of those situations where I think it was so bad, even though they picked up the $800,000 roster bonus and everything, he has to be, like, not just good, exceptional during camp. And during the preseason. He needs to be the best player on the field, or a guy that jumps off the screen to you and you say, wow, Artie Burns looks like a different guy out there, because anything short of that, and I think even if he makes the team, he's going to be stapled to the bench or just inactive for games, because I don't think Mike Tomlin trusts him. I don't think anybody really trusts him.
Dude, you know he's going to do it too, right? Like the first game, he's going to be running with the sixes or something like that. He's going to be covering some, you know, a guy who just got off the field at Westminster College, and is going to be actually jumping in front of a route and like, oh, Artie Burns. But no, I don't see him realistically, you know, adding anything to this team.
I think he probably will make the team. I think, you know, if you look at it, it's a process of who's going to knock him off the roster, and I'm not sure that there's a really good answer there. My thoughts, though, when you were talking about his contract and maybe getting something out of guys and this and that and everything, do you think Chris Archer could play corner? I mean, maybe we could solve two problems with one guy.
Who's better, Artie Burns at pitching or Chris Archer at covering wide receivers? We'll find out.
Here's another question, and this one is a hard one to answer, Jason Mackey, because it involves Chris Boswell, who was okay with the delay of a $2 million payment he was due in March. The Steelers said, we'll give it, but you got to come in here and perform. But how do you properly assess a guy in a preseason, which is, you know, bereft of any sort of pressure situation? You can conjure something up, I suppose, in practice. Mike Tomlin seems to like to do that. But can you believe what you see in the preseason to make sure that he's back and gets a $2 million option?
I don't, Pomp, and I don't know how anybody watching would either. I mean, if you see Chris Boswell go for 10 for 10 in the preseason, and you get to week one and he's trying to make a 47-yarder in the final seconds, like, who among us isn't going to be sitting there biting their fingernails worried that this guy's actually going to make the kick?
I'll actually be pretty confident in it. I'll tell you why.
Based on a 10 for 10 preseason?
Well, here's why. If it's $2 million, everyone else is looking at it as, well, it's a meaningless preseason game to me. It's $2 million for Chris Boswell. That's actual pressure.
Okay, well,
he's
what
not
about
a guy
last year? You gave him money and
quarterback
folded.
Wasn't there some
He's not making quarterback money. If he kicks well, it's because he's trying to make money. I think you can, at that position, given what happened to him actually fabricate real pressure in the preseason.
Well, isn't the other thing, wasn't there something about him maybe having a little bit of a strain in his hip or a strain in his hamstring or something? He wasn't 100% healthy last year. I mean, I think if he's healthy, we saw 2 years ago what he's capable of.
Yeah, but he was healthy in week one.
To be honest,
earlier in the season.
I don't anticipate that he's going to have a bad year. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine.
I think I would bet on him, and I think he's going to be maybe not as good as 2017, but not nearly as bad as 2018. And given the state of kickers, you never know what you're going to get. When we come back, we'll talk about Bud Dupree. That's next on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.